You've probably clicked onto this video because of that one subject that you absolutely dread. Well, don't worry, because today's tips will help you tackle that subject head on and make it a bit more bearable. Hi guys, my name is Liddy and I'm a UK-based medical student. I run this channel with my friend Hazal and we use it to document our lives becoming doctors and also share student tips along the way. As students, we all have subjects that we actually like and it's not that difficult to study. And then there's the other spectrum, the subjects that we absolutely dread. The ones that we have to literally physically motivate ourselves to go and study. The ones that stress us out. If this is you, you are not alone. In this video, I'll be helping you on how to approach and revise the less favored, less liked subjects. Let's jump straight into it with tip number one. Tip number one is find out your why. Before we even think about revising and approaching the subject, you need to figure out for yourself why it is that you don't actually like that particular subject. Figure out your why. Could it be because you don't get the best grades for that subject? You just can't bring yourself to wrap your head around the different concepts. Or you simply don't know how to revise for that particular topic. You've had a negative experience with it. You've had a negative experience with your colleagues, your teachers, whatever it may be. Once you figure out where this animosity is coming from, the animosity that is starting to now impact your approach to that subject, you can then think of active steps to mitigate against it. I personally used to hate maths for as long as I can remember. I know it's funny coming from me because I ended up getting a 9 in maths and I somehow passed maths A level. But the point is, I could never wrap my head around maths as a topic, around maths as a subject, and it really made me have lots of animosity towards it. So what I would do is I would completely ignore it. I would just act like it just didn't exist. And in the long run, it would impact my grades and my overall attitude towards my academia. When GCSEs were approaching and I realized, I actually need to pass maths, I decided to take it seriously. I realized that my issue was a difficulty understanding certain things, and to kind of mitigate against this difficult understanding the subject, I would take out a few minutes from my lunch or go back after school to see my maths teacher so that we can go over certain topics. And this eventually really helped me have a greater understanding for it. It helped my approach towards maths, and this animosity ended up fizzling out even a tiny bit. What you find is that as you make this academic progression, your attitude towards that subject might actually improve as well. And this is mainly because doing well in a subject you don't like, or even doing well in a subject that you find difficult, is actually really rewarding and motivating to us as students. So if this is one of your personal challenges, try and tackle this head on, and it might actually change your overall attitude towards that particular subject. If your issue with that particular subject you dislike is not actually related to grades and it's more of a general dislike, doesn't really have a clear root, no problem at all. One thing that can help with this is an incentive or a source of motivation to keep you going. Something that will push you to study that subject that you just can't stand. For example, when I was doing AS Physics, guys, when I was doing AS Physics, I could not stand it at all. But one of my incentives, one of my motivation was that if I passed these exams in year 12, I could drop AS Physics and I will never, ever, ever have to do physics again in my entire life. And that incentive kept me going. That incentive made me graft like never before so that I could pass this exam and just get rid of this topic from my life. So find your motivation or give yourself an incentive on why you should study the subject, just to make the whole process easier for you. Tip 2 is to do it first. If you know you don't like the subject, you might find yourself putting it at the bottom of your to-do list. We're all guilty of doing this, so don't even try and deny it. And if you're anything like me, what happens is if it's at the bottom of the to-do list and you don't have time to do it, you shrug it off and you say, I'll do it another day. What you don't want is to be behind on that subject, have to do catch up, fail a few exams. It's just perhaps not worth your peace. So we need to actively try and fight against this desire by putting that subject at the top of our to-do list and ensuring that it is one of the things that we complete first when getting our revision done. By studying this subject first, you will ensure that you approach it being, you know, the most energized, the most motivated version of you. As a med student right now, like there is no way, like no physical way that I can sit down and study pharmacology, perhaps later on in the day when I'm a bit tired, it's the evening, it's dark, I'm grumpy, like I physically can't do it. So if you're anything like me, try your best to kind of tackle this head on. When you've motivated yourself, you've given yourself the pep talk you need to kind of attack and get it out of the way for that particular revision sesh. Tackling that subject with the best mindset possible means that you are giving yourself the capacity for that study session to go really well. Approach that subject, get it out of the way in the morning, and then you have the rest of the day to do subjects that you actually like and you actually have less of an animosity towards. You don't want to keep pushing that subject back and delaying it, because what happens is it will all pile up, you will get overwhelmed, and then you will hate it even more. It is a vicious cycle that you want to break. Moreover, in addition to putting this subject at the top of your to-do list, make sure that you actually know what needs to be completed in relation to that subject. Have a detailed revision plan on exactly how to approach and revise that topic. This will allow you to make the most out of your study sessions, especially if it's a topic you find difficult. Plan in advance to perhaps give it a larger chunk of time compared to your other subjects, so that you can give yourself more breaks, so that you can get through everything, so that you can give yourself the grace and the capacity to get things wrong, to get frustrated with that subject, and to try again. Each small effort you make may reflect in your grades, so it's definitely worth trying to adapt your schedule in this way. Tip 3 is change. One thing that can help in helping you tackle this subject you don't like is introducing some change into your routine. Everyone has different learning styles, and one of your problems may be that you just don't like the way the subject is taught in class. It may be that the teacher is not as engaged as you would like, or you just can't stand the long, tedious, boring classes. So this is the point in which you have to take some initiative, stop using it as an excuse to hate the subject, and just try to find other ways to seek this information that you have to acquire. Regularly switch up how you consume information related to that subject. You could look into getting into audiobooks, you could watch a video, you can do some quizzes with your friends. What can you do to make it a bit more exciting and a bit less tedious for you? I remember when I was in secondary school, there were just certain subjects, like I just didn't enjoy going to the lessons, I didn't find the lessons interesting, and I hated the way it was taught. I prefer to perhaps study that particular subject in my own way, in my own time. So what I would do is perhaps try to just be more intentional and direct my learning a bit more during those classes. That could be by doing more practice questions, that could be by perhaps working with a group of friends. How can you introduce change into those classes and into those lessons to kind of make the subjects more bearable to get through? There are so many ways that you can revise a given topic, so don't limit yourself to just one. Don't limit yourself to what, you know, the teacher might suggest. You kind of need to figure out what works best for you, and that might positively impact your overall approach towards that topic. And in terms of change, I feel like it's a given that you should try to adapt your environment to ensure that when you are sitting down to do that topic or that subject, it is a very student-friendly and motivating environment. For example, in sixth form, when I had to do maths, I would ensure that I would do it in the study room where other people were studying and getting through their work and getting through these topics they didn't want to get through, because it made me feel like, you know, there was a bit of a community and we were all suffering together. Another thing you can do to make your environment more study-friendly and a bit more motivating is small things like declutter your desk, make it a bit more spacious, clean your room, the environment in which you are studying in, open your blinds so that there's a bit of light coming through, play some music, have a bottle of water nearby to feel hydrated. These things seem so minuscule, but they can make such a huge change in your overall study routine. Tip 4 is to get help. So like I mentioned in my previous example, often the reason you hate a subject is because you don't quite understand it. So when you have someone to help you, it can make approaching that subject a whole lot easier. If your animosity is down to your performance with that subject, the grades you are getting, then getting some help can be very beneficial for you. Whether that is speaking to your colleagues on the best resources and techniques to approach that subject, spending some time with your teacher at lunch or after school to go over certain things, getting help and support can be very useful in helping you get through that topic. I would always go to the smartest people in my class or the most engaged and most enthusiastic, and it would actually make the learning process much easier. It's easier to learn a subject from someone who really enjoys it, who is super interactive and super engaging, than to try and read a boring page from a textbook. in the corner of the library. Moreover, in terms of getting help, you can also get an accountability buddy or an accountability partner in your class or in your degree that can help you, in which you can support each other in doing coursework and getting homework done and in getting revision done for that subject you perhaps don't like. I remember I used to really love studying as a group, studying with friends and doing mini challenges and mini quizzes together. Like me and Hazal would go to whiteboards and, you know, look at who could draw out the steps of photosynthesis the quickest. And it's these little mini things that keep things nice and exciting, and it can take a really tedious task and turn it into something that you're actually looking forward to and into information you can easily consume. Which leads on nicely to tip number 5, which is to make it fun. This particular tip may come across a little bit childish, but at the end of the day, if you take something you don't want to do and make it enjoyable, it just goes by much more faster, and it makes the whole process easier to get through. Of course, no one wants to sit at a desk for 6 to 7 hours and do work. Nobody wants that, but we also do want to pass our exams. So make something that sounds like a huge negative, a disadvantage, something you just don't want to do, turn it and make it into something a bit more empowering, make it into something that you actually, you know, enjoy a little bit, add a bit of fun so that it becomes more bearable. Whatever you do in life, you deserve to find joy in your tasks and your productivity. If you're a student, you have to spend so much of your life learning, so much of your life studying, making those notes, meeting those deadlines. So if we're investing so much time into this one thing, why does it have to be something that you dread so intensely? Now, applying this to that subject you hate or that topic you don't like, making it fun doesn't mean that you need to get up and start dancing. Like I said, it's in the little things. When I used to really dislike A-level biology, what I would do to make the whole process easier for myself is I would learn by drawing small little images that would make the topics very memorable for me. And even making the sketches and colouring it in, even though it was a bit childish, it did help me enjoy it a bit more and actually look forward to it a tiny bit more, compared to topics like maths where I just had to sit down and do practice papers. I'd rather sit down and do some drawing and do some colouring in and some sketching. And tip 6 is to reward yourself. This is in line with making it fun. Like, if you've done a few hours of that topic you did not like, give yourself a pat on the back. That takes self-discipline and it takes motivation. Give yourself an incentive to get through the subject. No one likes doing hard work without a bit of a reward. When I have lots of assignments and essays at uni coming up, I ensure that before I even begin that assignment, I've already booked myself a dinner date to go and enjoy some food for completing that assignment. The minute I'm done with that piece of coursework, that assignment, that essay, and I send it through, I am treating myself to sleep, Netflix, a bit of Bridgerton, a bit of food, whatever it may be. Give yourself an incentive to actually smash through the work and just get it out of the way. This will mean that you may associate this intense, difficult task with a more positive outcome, which could help you feel more inclined to getting the work done. Now that you know how to study subjects you don't like, it is now time to actually do the studying. And if you want to know how to study every day or how to study consistently without burning out, check out the video that will be on screen right now. Be sure to turn on your notification bell for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be sure to see you guys in a new video next time. Bye!